Happy time zone, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns. Great to have you with us this fantastic Friday. Today we continue our coverage of the Zelda 2 Randomizer Upstarts tournament with this quarterfinals matchup between VixRyder and Vexed Object, two up-and-coming racers in the scene. Very excited to see how this one pans out. On tracking duties today, we have Homewrecker, and without further ado, I'm going to shut up and leave you in the hands of our wonderful commentary team today, Elendar and Animus United.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So excited to be here. I'm Animus United, and along with me is Zelda, one of our amazing developers keeping Zelda 2 Randomizer fresh. Elendar, How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're into the brackets now. Soon, this is going to be the end of the last tournament of the old version. We're going to see some new fancy, new flags, new features, new bug fixes, new bugs coming up soon with standard tournament. But for now, this is the third quarterfinal match. We've got both of our Vs. Vexed Object coming in at the number 6 seed, VixRyder at the number 3 seed. There was a tiebreak match between Vix and Aaron for second and third. Vix was defeated in that match, so he's down here against Vexed Object.
Yeah, both of these runners have looked like they've done a really good job in the Upstarts tournament. I've seen VixRyder in SFB3 Link to the Past. I haven't seen Vexed Object as in many places, but yeah, I'm sure both are really doing good with what I've seen with the standings of this. Really all around, I've just been very impressed and excited for what I've seen as far as the entire Upstart tournament, just with all of our new runners wanting to get into this and really putting in really great times.
Yeah, we did some unofficial restreams of the top 2 each week. The earlier rounds were async, and both of these runners had finished in top 2 some of these weeks. So immediate divergence here, though. We get Fairy Spell, and Vexed Object was moving on. VixRyder gonna take a step in and get that hint.
Yeah, so we got Trophy out of Heart Container Cave for Vexed Object, and looks like, yeah, you said Vix is going to get the hint from Durga.
All right. Rebanak rides with the medicine. So with Fairy Spell being in a palace, any key is going to be required in terms of logical progression. And now that we're in bracket stage, extra keys is off, so it's going to be unlikely you're going to be able to get that item without finding the magical key, unless there's keys in the drop group that are fairly plentiful.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see, like, when am I going to get the any key, when am I going to get the fairy. It's kind of a big battle to see which one you get. Sometimes, if the seat's nice, you just end up getting both within 10 minutes. But
yeah, not likely to be the case this time.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so Vix found the north end of Saria, but chose to take it up A rather than trying to dig down and get to the other side of that. Just spell in Saria, so probably not required, but could be useful early on.
Yeah, it's certainly something you're not rushing to grab immediately. Definitely early on are looking to level up, and obviously, like you said, definitely trying to get that dungeon progression for any key or fairy. Of course, if you find the glove too, hey, that's always fun to get early. That way you're not on a famous glove hunt.
Yeah, we got a hint for the raft is going to be in the west. This is E-Town, not entirely sure which spell that's going to be. So came up in a previous race. If the fast text only... If you only got the last letter, this could be life, this could be fire. We do not know.
Yeah, I like just going in here blindly, just getting the spell. It's early, so even if you don't know exactly what it is, I think it's always very helpful to get something really early on.
Yeah, for sure. I would probably not even check the sign, but Vic's gonna get life spell 65. Unfortunately, just barely not castable.
Randomizer does like to keep us on our toes, doesn't it?
Yep. We're gonna need to get at least one magic level before that. Vexed successfully taking down that Moa before taking a lava bath, and Vix is gonna take a little bit of an out of logic dip into this palace.
Yeah, I believe this was Palace 1. I don't hate this, especially with it being Palace 1. Sometimes you can just come across with Palace 1 being as short as it is an out of logic item room without any keys, and that could give you a really good advantage if it's something really good.
Yeah, if there's any palace to dip out of logic, P1 is pretty reasonable consideration. Looks like Vix just picking up some experience, taking the FA.
Yeah, no, that's a good move as well, to just reset your lives and be able to get that attack too.
So Vex is about to turn in the trophy. I didn't see what the sign was, but we're going to see in just a moment here what this town holds.
Oh, we got the shield, so shield and life are in the west.
Okay. So three of our 4 vanilla spells in the west, just spell being the outlier there.
Well, why not? Might as well do that.
Go east to find the boots. Okay, that's a good hint.
Oh, that's a really good hint.
Doesn't look like they're going to be that useful here in the west, but at least a little bit useful. There's a couple sections that are cut off.
The good news is we do not have vanilla maps on, so we don't have to worry about something finicky like Vanilla Shuffled East. We'll just have a randomized biome, which, as for those of you who have been watching Z2 for a little while now, we can have quite a few different biomes, such as like volcanoes, islands. If it's an East Islands, that would be something, but...
Yeah, having to dig through East Islands to find the boots, not really where you want to be.
No. Looks like Vexed has found Bagu's Woods.
Yeah, and found a nasty encounter in Bagu's Woods, too.
This is one of the trolly things about the rando. Obviously, on this seed, you don't really have to worry about it, but when it's a Bagu required seed, digging through Bagu's Woods to try to find Bagu is one of the more tedious things to do. That's why a lot of runners will try to avoid finding Bagu's Woods, even if it ends up being the answer, just because of how rare it ends up being the answer.
Okay, VixRyder found a key in the small enemies group.
Ooh,
so that increases the likelihood of us being able to do out-of-logic palaces.
Yes, that is a really big find by Vix.
Even just having one key makes a huge difference if you're just trying to snipe out that item.
Yes, and I believe, let me double check, but I believe also that the boss item drop is not randomized, so that means that keys are going to drop off of the bosses, so that's also an additional help and additional incentive for you to be able to dig palaces right now as well.
Vexed has found our way off of the west. It's going to be a bridge on the east side. It's going to be Death Mountain, Death Mountain, Death Mountain.
Yeah, so this is actually vanilla-like DM, which is actually probably my favorite, or my preferred DM, I should say, not necessarily my favorite.
It's certainly the kindest DM.
Yeah, that's the way I was going to put it. I just find it really better to navigate than a lot of other DMs.
Yeah, it tends to be a little bit more open. No, there aren't encounters in most of the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
And Vexed, considering looking, Vexed found the only other thing left on this continent was a rock-blocked cave. So our options at this point are either... Ooh, go down there. Yes.
All right.
This is Hammer Cave. I was going to say, whenever you see a Death Mountain like this, with the flags that we have on, all of the caves are always going to be paired off. You're going to go in one, you're going to go out the other, but Vexed correctly saw that this cave led to nowhere. And that means that it's either going to be a transport or our Hammer Cave.
Yeah, having the candle for this, especially on 112, is going to be really, really helpful because this is very rough to do really early on. So,
when Vexed only has 1 life remaining.
Yeah, I think as long as Vex up A's after this, I think it'll be fine.
Yep. Just got to get past this, and then the remaining room's not too hard. You can mostly just avoid the enemies in the lava pit room, and then you can despawn the first enemy in the item room. So
Yeah. Yeah, really, the first 2 rooms are really the most brutal, like you said.
this guy just goes off the edge, and then as long as you're patient here, don't like jump into a bot in the middle. Okay, that's gonna be no problem. And then a bug I totally don't understand. If you just leave this room and come back, it despawns the first enemy. Though it's not a red die or anything that would be scary.
Yeah, that was something I didn't realize for a long time. Magic container in Hammer Cave, so yeah.
Makes life castable at least.
There you go. Yeah, just gonna wisely up A out of there. We don't have the hammer, so we're not able to get the other DM item. But like Elondor said, there could be a connector cave within DM. Since we are playing with the Anything Goes flag set, there are 4 continental connectors. There's that bridge, there's the raft, and then there's 2 caves. So that's our way to go from the continents of the west, east, Maze Island, and DM. So that means that raft may or may not be required in certain seeds, or hey, that could be your go mode item because you need that to get to Maze Island to do the last dungeon.
Yeah, and okay, Vexed object finding what I think is the last of the accessible item caves here in Magic Container Cave. This was fairly close to start, but also kind of in an out of the way spot.
Yeah, it's also just such a cave early on that's kind of hard to justify just because of, it's 2 screens of enemies, especially on 1-1. It could be really tough to fully commit to early on, so I can see why you'd want to wait till this point.
Yeah, but this is given where we're at right now, Vexed is about to exhaust any possibility of progress in the West, unless this is the hammer or there's something we missed. We're pretty much, I think, at this point guaranteed to require a connector in Death Mountain because we haven't seen a raft, we haven't seen any other way off of this west, and none of these palaces are in logic.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is a connector. And certainly it could be either a cave or a raft tile in DM as well.
Yeah, I think Vex has figured that out as well. He's going to take this pass through, and I think if we especially if we see him head east, he's going to be heading back for that DM. You really don't want to dig it, but it's literally the last resort at this point. So
yeah, I also think it's not a terrible move to do it in general, just because, like we said before, it's the vanilla-like DM. So I think it's a lot easier to spot out, like we were spotting out the Hammer Cave. I think it's a lot easier to spot out connectors in this vanilla-like DM as well. And since Hammer Cave, and we've already seen Hammer Cave, we know that, that Hammer Cave and the connector aren't facing each other, so that's going to be a really big help. Because those can be a troll whenever you're trying to look for opposite-ended caves.
Yeah. VixRyder's going to have a little bit of a routing advantage here just because he's now getting his last item from the west, and that's going to mean that he's not going to be double dipping this Death Mountain in all likelihood. He's just going to be finding Hammer Cave, and then being like, well, I guess I got to find a connector. With any luck, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful for sure. I haven't really been studying this west too long. Is there like a southern portion that we haven't seen?
Yeah, there's a southern portion, but both our runners have found there's a couple different caves, a couple different paths that lead down there.
Okay.
But I think at this point, both of our runners have cleared out most of. I think we haven't seen P-Bag Cave, I think, but we've also seen a rock blocked cave by the entrance to Death Mountain. So that's probably what that is.
Yeah, and I was trying to think too, as far as like whether or not to like someone would want to dig a palace right now. But since we know the boots are on the east, and the only other item that could really affect or help us right now is glove, but that could also wait as well. I'm kind of assuming that that's probably not a worthwhile play right now. It's probably just better right now to try to look for this connector at this point.
Yeah, and both runners. Okay, well, I was saying Vix taking an up A, Vex taking a death, but I think the only other thing that you could do that's maybe reasonable here is, depending on how many keys you have, try an out of logic dip of P1.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we said before, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, especially if you get a key or two.
Yeah. And, bosses are going to drop keys, so you're not going to be, like, wasting a key if you come across the boss without any keys. You'll be able to get a key to kind of save you out of that, so... To me, I wouldn't hate it. It's just, we got the raft already, we know where the boots are. I guess, like, if you were able to come across the flute or hammer or something like that, that would be pretty helpful as well, if that's required. Or, like, I guess child, if you need that for the east. I was just trying to think of, like, useful items here that could help us save time by doing this out of logic play.
Yeah, Vix did find Bago, so he's gonna cross over and get his spell here.
Okay.
I think if you're trying to look for a way east, it's reasonable to pick this up before you go.
You know what would be funny? We talked about the east having the boots. I mean, Bagu required? ?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely gonna see Vix come out the. I don't know if we actually saw the other end of this town or not, but Vix is definitely gonna check it.
Yeah, that's especially with the exploration. I didn't realize that we didn't have.
Wow, what is this?
Oh.
Okay, it's just a dead end, but wow, that if that was something, that would have been crazy. What a weird map.
That's already crazy. Wow.
All right, so Vexed is doing the out of logic dip of P1. Vix is going somewhere, hopefully gonna find Death Mountain.
Yeah, I can see why both of our runners are a little hesitant to dig DM. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to do it either. We do see an immediate key locker.
Vix hasn't found DM yet.
Okay,
Vex just doesn't want to do it, which I understand.
Yeah.
But from Vix's perspective, there's still more sections of the west that need to be checked. More caves that need to be found. A possible connection cave.
I believe, wasn't DM close to where Vix was, or was it more north?
Yeah, I think it's just northeast of where Vix is. I think you had to take this connector to the southern half and then sort of walk northeast from there.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's right next to this grass tile, yeah.
Grass tile, yep. So it looks like as far as levels go, we're at 223, 222, so yeah, it's still early on as far as leveling goes. Hey, Vix does found DM, so looks like it's going to find Hammer Cave here.
Yep. And you might as well check it. Ordinarily, if I'm in a position where the seed's still really open, there's a lot of stuff going on, I'm not super excited to go and dig Hammer Cave, but especially since they're so close to just having nothing they can do. Like, you gotta check it.
Yeah. Was Vix the one that got the hint for the boots? Because I wouldn't hate it if he skipped it if he got the boots hint. I got wrapped and I know where boots are, so, But I guess there's always that little, what if glove is here, right? So might as well check it.
Yeah, well, at least one of them knows that. I guess we still don't know where glove is, but
yeah.
I think. Okay, Vix also gonna go down to his last life in this same room. Let's see if he can power through it like Vex did.
Yeah, we were discussing it earlier. Just going into DM and Hammer Cave is, especially with low levels early on, is just one of the most difficult things. that you can do in the randomizer, I would say. But again, the candle is very helpful.
Yeah, the shield spell as well, putting in good work here.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the one good thing to me of getting shield early, and we do know life is vanilla life refill, so having a vanilla life refill is pretty helpful as well. So having both of those spells early on is helpful for our low level DM explorations. Yeah, so Vexed is doing the Bagu spell play as well, so we're gonna be even here as far as exploration, information, spells, items, etc. now.
Yeah, they're pretty much neck and neck. Vix did pick up 2 keys in that trip through Hammer Cave, and yeah, it looks like Vix is also gonna do the Out of Logic P1 dip, but that puts him at either 2 or 3 keys, I don't remember, and that's going to be a big difference compared to Vex's 1.
Yeah, because there are some key locks in that P1 that was definitely not a open P1. Oh, was it a fairy locked P1? I didn't even notice. Oh, well, that's even more rough. Vexed. Okay. Yeah, so we've seen P1, we've also seen P4. It looks like, as far as I'm looking at their trackers right now. Yeah, P4 would be tough to dig just because you'd have to go back in there because you don't have the reflect spell.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for an item, wouldn't be the worst thing, I guess. If you're,
it would certainly be a gamble that your opponent's unlikely to make.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure both of our runners right now are feeling a little, on the edge, just because you haven't found that eastern progression right now to get to the east. So anytime you're kind of in this situation where it's just like, oh, what do I do here? DM, whatever. I think you're more willing to, make a big gamble like that.
Yeah, well, Vexed is fully run out of options and is going to be the first one returning to DM to look for a connector.
So we're boots locked out of this third palace, right?
I think
Looks
so.
like. Mm-hmm.
Another key for Vix.
Alright, so Vix has found the item.
Yeah, we sort of just hold left from the elevator. It's a hammer!
Ooh, now that is spicy.
This is out of logic, but that's going to give him access to 2 more items.
And we see that spectacle rock right there, speaking of it.
Yeah, and just looking around here, maybe this one? No, maybe part of a 4-way. I'm just looking, no obvious connectors out of here.
Oh, it might be right there. Nope. I was wondering if there was going to be a raft tile to the west, but not looking like it so far.
Yeah, it might be worth taking that west cave anyway, just to get out of here. And oh, man, that dripper room sucks. Especially going right to left. Going left to right, the timing is pretty reasonable. Going right to left, if you get unlucky, you can get pretty trolled.
Yeah.
And Aaron in chat, one of our top 8 competitors who designed that room, feels a little bit bad. Yep, there will be an opportunity for people to revise their rooms coming up in probably a couple months once I get everything set up for it.
Hint, Aaron.
I'm not even a hint. I've told people I'm doing it.
Just kidding.
I look forward to seeing. Yeah, it's new rooms definitely not coming before standard. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I wanted to design a room right before my tournament race, so that way I would only have information for it.
Yeah, it's a couple months until standard, and standard's gonna be on the version we've got right now. As Vex continues to search these caves, I think he's got to go. He's going to take one of these west caves. Check the northwest. That's where you haven't been. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a deceiving DM right now because it does kind of look like there's a lot of these dead ends, but there's probably just a hidden cave that we're just not seeing. Yeah, this looks like another dead end.
Northwest, unless there's something down here. No, that's just gonna lead back to. Man.
Ooh, this is.
Is there perhaps just some way in the west that neither of our runners found?
I don't know. I don't know if we've seen like the northeast either. There's not that much more to see, or the southwest here. Can't remember if we've seen the southwest either.
Yeah, there might not be a way to get to. So we're gonna see Vix check. Oh, okay. That hammer is just the other end of Fairy Cave, so not anything there. That means
I think this might be it.
Yeah, definitely could be. At this point, Vex just checking every cave, which is very reasonable. But Vix is gonna get an out of logic item here in Spec Rock in just a sec.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it is. We know it's not gonna be the boots out of logic, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it will be. Yeah, so both of our runners are just looking around DM right now, and a little hard to keep track of what we've seen and what we haven't seen at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where I've seen runners get to the point of just getting out of a paper or some screenshots to actually start making a map of Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've certainly have done that on vanilla, shuffled the DM, but some DMs, just like, well, maybe I guess I just need to check every single cave no matter what at this point.
Okay, just a hard container out of logic.
Well, if the forest tile comes up in the east again, that could be pretty helpful as well. Otherwise, the hammer, I guess, for this seed was, pretty much useless.
Yep, we'll see. And a hard container's not a bad thing to get, but.
Yeah, so Vexed is going where I was wondering, which was kind of this northeastern section, but not really anything here either.
And Vexed starting to look pretty vexed.
I'm pretty perplexed here as well.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how the West is organized. Whether there could be a section our runners are missing, or whether it's just here in DM and then neither our runners have found it. But they've done a pretty significant check of DM at this point.
Yeah, I would say so. I guess it could be a little concerning if one of our waterlocked caves are blocking some connector in the west at this point, or maybe we just missed something somewhere. Yeah, so I'm not really seeing any caves in DM.
Yeah, it doesn't really look. It could be that they just missed both our runners have the raft at this point. It could be that they just missed a raft tile somewhere, like hanging out on a coast.
That's so easy to do. That happened to me a few weeks ago, where it looked like there was nothing down there, and then all of a sudden you just go down a little bit more and you see some water, and there's just a little raft tile down there. So, yeah, that can be easy to do.
And we'll see how long it is. It looks like both our runners are starting to They've been sort of neck and neck this whole race, and now they're neck and neck in confusion here, saying, "What in the world's going on?"
Yeah, I think both of them really think that the connector is in DM, which I don't blame them. I would think the same as well.
I thought the connector was here in DM too.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, me too.
It doesn't look like it.
But maybe they've also felt like that they've done so much exploration in the West that they don't feel like it's in the West at all.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where, like, if you really think you're stuck, sort of just re-chase your steps, just sort of check all the edges, check all of the coasts, just check, double check everything, and make sure there's not some route that you missed.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen that many good high level key bags. We've seen some keys. Speaking of keys, there's a key right there, and some jars, but I don't know if we've really seen much key bags actually.
Never mind. There is a connector. Vix has found it. It was all the way, it looks like, in the southwest of Death Mountain.
Wow.
It's like right where Vexed is. I think it's that down and right. I think they're going to be neck and neck. I think it's this cave right here.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That is a troll. That is a troll.
29 minutes. I'm sure both runners at this point are thinking, I'm definitely losing this race. What in the world just happened? But actually, neck and neck, Vix found the magical key, which we know is going to be required to get the fairy spell. So that's going to crack open all our palaces. All of a sudden, whole seed wide open. Amazing.
Wow. That is... Whew. Yeah, that was a pretty nasty DM. We were talking about how we thought that it would be a little easier to find the connector, but those two caves were so close to each other that it just looked like it was going to each other. So, yeah.
Wow. Vix found the other cave on Maze Island. It also leads to DM.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So I guess that means that the raft is either the raft is on Maze Island, which it doesn't look like it, or the raft is actually in that segmented section of the west. Yeah, it was right there next to Speck Rock.
Wow.
So there were two connector caves from Death Mountain to this Maze Island. That means if the raft isn't here on the maze, the raft is in that segmented section of the west, and you needed to go to this Maze Island just to get the magical key in order to get the medicine to get Fairy Spell. But where would we had a hint about the boots, right? Where were the boots? The boots were on the east, though, right?
They're on the east, yeah.
So there's got to be maybe the raft is in like the northeast of here. Where's the raft then? Because if we've seen both of our caves and we've seen our bridge to get into Death Mountain, where's the raft? We know that raft has to lead east.
Now, was the fairy connector, like, could they access the fairy connector? Are we needing fairy to get to the other way?
The right side, the top end of Fairy Cave, was right next to the entrance to Death Mountain.
Okay, so...
But it could be that Jump Cave... I didn't see where Jump Cave was. It could be that Jump Cave is what takes us over to that segmented section on the west, and we need Fairy to logically clear that, because we haven't... Jump is going to be somewhere on the east, so...
Yeah,
it may be that the only thing this Maze Island was actually... Obviously, we got to clear the palace, but it may be that logically the only thing this Maze Island really progresses for us is getting that magical key.
That would be a spicy progression there, and I actually support that, so I actually hope that's the progression.
Yeah, well, both of our runners are going to clear this palace out while they're here.
Oh, certainly.
Also, it looks like
the raft is south. There it is. It's just south
so
there.
the raft is just south here. Okay, so less insane than I thought. But both of our runners are going to clear out this palace. They're here. You might as well. You got the magical key. I don't think we know yet whether this is 3 or 6, but either way, I think you need to just do it.
Oh, absolutely. But I did like that idea. I support that idea
100%. We still are going to need to find a way into that segmented section of the west, because we know there's at least one palace there.
Yeah.
But
my guess is it's just boots locked, so that you just need these boots from the east to get over there.
You could definitely get there with the boots. I don't know. Wow, big enemies in palace is 1,000-point P-bags.
Well, that was actually the item from P6 or this P3, if you will. Was
Yeah, but Vix also found a 1,000-point P bag from a large enemy.
Oh, multitasking is
pretty much,
hard.
yeah, pretty much at the same time. We went from real bad experience to taking several levels in rapid succession here.
That's incredible.
Basically, all we had to do was find how to get to this maze, and we cracked the whole seat open. It's amazing that there were 2 caves from Death Mountain to this maze, and it took both of our runners multiple trips and a bunch of time to find either of them. And then they found both of them basically simultaneously.
So,
confirmation at P6 here.
Yeah, so I think the other thing too to sort of commend our runners on too, just because with them being kind of new to Z2, is the fact that they're doing all of this without downstab. Downstab is something you would try to rush early on, I would say, just because of how much easier that it is to deal with these enemies. So the fact that they're doing all this combat downstabless, with especially early on with such low levels, that's something to commend them on.
Yeah, definitely. The seed did not make it easy on them, with jump and fairy both requiring you to go east to get.
Well, I was wondering if this was going to be a glove. We did see a glove block, so I was questioning whether it was a glove block, but glove not required for this dungeon.
Yeah, worth noting that logically, in the 404 logic, that glove block room existing means that this entire palace is technically glove blocked. Now, obviously, that kind of doesn't mean anything because the item was just a P bag, and we've already got access to our magical key. But it is something to keep in mind if you find that glove block room before you find the item.
Who knew? After all these years, we were actually doing palaces out of logic. Bye.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing about that logic is if you're in a glove hunt and you're doing palaces, you're hunting through palaces for glove hunt. If you see a glove blocked room, that means the glove is definitely not in that palace. At least in 404, obviously. I've ruined that for everybody for 4.2, so.
How cruel. No, as it rightfully should. Yeah, that was a really good downstabless fight of Barbara by Vix.
Yeah, real clean. I mean, yep. you could definitely tell when runners are new to the randomizer, but they come from a vanilla speedrunning background when they get to bosses, and you get some real clean, real fast kills. Oh yeah, that raft tile's all the way south central.
Yeah, it is. Again, just another very hidden connector here.
Yeah, Vic's looking for the second item in the maze. I don't blame him. Glove's still outstanding. You don't want to accidentally not find it and lose the race.
No, absolutely not. And I guess you might need the child. Actually, child, because we haven't seen Reflect or Thunder, there's a okay chance for that being required too, so that's something to kind of keep in mind as well.
Yeah, for sure. But now Vix is kind of in a position where he's close to the raft now. He knows that the item is near him, and yeah, I don't blame him. Just taking off here.
Yeah, I mean, the East has so many more items, like, well, it's 6 items as opposed to that 1 item.
Yeah,
like, at this point, you just want to see the East.
Plus the boots, right? When he comes back, he'll be able to bypass some significant amount of the maze just by walking around the water. And Vexed is going to be slightly slower heading out of here, but still a pretty quick clear of that P6.
So we have Reflect here. So that's one of our spells required, so...
Puts a little bit of pressure off the child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately for Vex, Vex is doing this fight on attack 3 as opposed to attack 5 that Vix had. So it looks like attack 3 on Barbara is going to take significantly longer.
Yeah, attack 4 and attack 5 tend to be pretty big breakpoints for where the attack. I guess we're on vanilla, so yeah, definitely they're going to be pretty big breakpoints for regaining pretty significant amounts of damage. Yeah, and Vix checking. We do still have 1 hint outstanding.
Yes, I do believe so. So there are 3 major hints and 1 minor hint, if you will. So GP is on the east.
And Vex took a death real close to the end, and he's going to have to make another attempt here at this Barba. It's going to burn a lot of time. Vix finding Desert Tile, 50 points.
Very, very small change there. Oh,
okay. It's 3-eyed rock.
Let me double check actually. No, so that is a random location. So
could be a palace, not likely.
Doesn't have to be a palace. I guess it could be a town too for Thunder. Hey.
Hey. Could go for full tracker percent. We didn't see that one recently.
That's true. Or my favorite is when you discover the item cave that has the boots in it.
And disaster striking for Vix, taking 2 lava baths, taking a game over. Vexed, up Aing out of 6, took 2 deaths to Barba, determined he just doesn't want to do that on attack 3. So both runners taking pretty significant setbacks here. But,
yeah, I don't hate this by Vex. I mean, this is attack 3. You know you're getting the boots out of the east. You see the reptile down here. Just come back when you got in there. Because it didn't really seem like Barba was too deep, if you remember where he was. So
yeah, this walk back for VixRyder, though, this sucks.
Yes, especially without the boots. Those lava encounters are just so brutal in the east, especially without downstab too, or upstab for that matter. Because all of these flying enemies and those lava encounters can really just screw you over.
Okay, New Casino has jump. And Vex at 7 containers definitely going to be able to get what's in the basement.
Oh, thank you, Ganagrini. Oh, there's the boots.
Hey! 7... Well, again, we don't know how many container requirements it was, but the boots in the basement, quite nice, although we still don't know. We strongly suspect those are required at this point for at least one palace in the west, but even if they're not, it looks like this is a canyon east, so the boots are going to be huge just for helping navigate it.
And so where was... I wonder where that 7th magic container that Vex got was. Because it will be interesting to me to see if that 7th magic container really was required, or 6 is going to be good enough.
Yeah, I don't actually know where it was from, because it wasn't on... it was just a hard container for Vix under Spec Rock. I don't know where Vex...
Maze Island?
It was the second... Okay, it's the second item in Maze Island. That makes sense.
Okay, so Vex found the second item.
So that's not bad for for Vix if he is short a magic container. He's gonna be able to find it pretty easily.
Right.
Alright, Spell Tower, just an extra life. Oh, come pick it up. I don't. It's so close. Just pick up the extra life.
Especially with this east, I would have done it.
Right? I mean, we're seeing on Vix's screen right now how much time it costs you to take a game over. Because you have to do the full continent shuffle west to Death Mountain to Maze Island to get to the east. Like, just be safe. Don't take a game over.
Yeah, it will be curious for me to see, whether or not we are going to need Child or not as far as Thunder purposes go.
Alright, Vix is going to find that second magic container here. Vex finds GP.
Yeah, definitely good info to have. It's also good info just to know that you're going to have to come back to the east in the first place. So, You don't necessarily have to do everything over here at this point. Just make sure you get Reflect first and foremost to get back to the west for when you're coming back over here. Obviously, you would prefer to find the glove over here in the east as well. But...
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, at this point, it's there's not many locations left. It's going to be the east, or it's going to be in a palace, and definitely the east preferred over a palace.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got the Dream Alive for Three-Eyed Rock to troll, so that could just be an item cave for the glove, or it could be a town for Thunder. You know, we got the Dream Alive, chat. I'm thinking of you when I'm thinking of these scenarios. Okay, Eladar came up with some good scenarios. I'm coming up with some good scenarios as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to have as much chaos as possible. I mean, this race has been fairly close. It's still fairly close, so.
Yeah, so it's definitely been very chaotic with what their seed has wanted us to do. It's just so much lava in this area, too.
Vic's gonna get 1,000 points here. That's gonna be nice. Or 150. So that one was always the XL bag. Apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah, Vix is going to see New Kasudo and is now going to pick up the Link Doll and the boots, but more importantly, hopefully the Link Doll. Oh, there is the River Devil, and guess what, chat? Useless as usual.
He's doing his best out here.
Here is doing it. Oh, it is Thunder.
All right, we're gonna look for a child, and Vexed is like, well, I definitely got to get this hint.
So, we haven't seen Fire, so I guess Fire could possibly save us off of something, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Fire is linked to a spell in this flag set, so it's gonna be something.
1 in 7 chance. Do you like the odds?
I mean, even if it's not Reflect, a Fire Thunder or a Fire Life or something can make huge differences in the seed.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, Fire Fairy. That's always fun to have a little bit of a lower fairy cost. And Vexed Object doing what you rightfully should, rushing upstab, getting it before downstab, if I may say so myself. So good job to Vexed Object. I think they're the real winners here, quite frankly.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if you didn't know which tab it was going into each area.
I like that change now. Now,
okay, go west. We're going west for the child.
Oh no!
And the magic jar. That's our last hint.
Oh no! The boots were blocking the child.
So you had to go through Death Mountain to the maze, gonna get that magical key, take a move on out to the east. Gotta get those boots. Need some number of containers. We don't know because Vexed had 7 containers when he got there. But get some number of the containers along the way, and then take those boots, go back to the west, get the child, go back to the east to get Thunder. Thankfully, GP on the east, so you're not gonna have to take another trip back. Just pick up Thunder right before you do GP, but.
This seed.
This has been glorious. This seed's been great.
Whew. Wow.
I like the way Vex is routing this. Get the boots and just follow the edge of the map, right? Check all the edges and then check the inside. Stay on the water as much as you can. Don't get any encounters.
And actually, the way this is looking, this kind of is. Is this an Islands East?
It looks like it is an Islands.
I didn't even think it was an Islands East till I was looking.
Yeah, it looks like a canyon at first, but definitely looks like an Islands now.
So, I guess this was the boots on the Islands East that we were referring to before.
Yeah, it was just right next to the start.
Incredible.
Yeah, unfortunately... Okay, and Vexed has determined that he wants that child, so with the boots in hand, magical key in hand... This is a great time for Vex. Just full clear the west, right? Find all the palaces, clear them out. He wants to get down stab. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since, like we were saying before, you're going to have to come back to the east anyway, since GP is on the east, and now we do double for it because you have to get the child from the west. So
might as well go back west, get everything.
Yeah, might as well. Even if we're having to full clear every dungeon just to go on the glove hunt, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the only danger of doing what Vexed Object did, he didn't finish checking all of the locations on the east. So if there is a glove hanging out in, I don't think we found the water tile.
And Vix has found the fire spell as well, so it'll be interesting to see what this is.
Yep, Vexed getting a reminder that Rebo rides with the medicine. Oh, that's right! Vexed can't full clear the west because he needs the fairy spell. And to do the fairy spell, you need to fight Rebo, who's on the east.
Oh.
This entire scene is just a ton of trips back and forth to the east by every single continent in the way. This is cruel.
I mean, we do love traveling between continent to continent, so this is glorious.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess at this point, if you're Vexed, right, you're gonna have to do a couple dips. So, just go find that child. Clear out what palaces you can. Vexed's gonna take a look at this palace. This is the one we hadn't seen. This is P5 at 334.
Oh, yeah. I think Vexed is thinking of our options here.
Yeah. I mean, if you know that you're going to have to come back to the west anyway, forget it, right? Get the kid in the west, go back to the east, get your trophy, right? Clear out everything but GP on the east, then go back west, clear out everything on the west, get your fairy spell, then go back and get your thunder and do GP, I guess.
This is just something. I'm speechless on what we are witnessing here today. New player tournament. Yeah, I mean, this is really a tough situation to walk into.
And I appreciate Vix. I think has been doing a really good job of routing. Right, it took him a while to find some stuff, but he got everything he could in the west. Then he got everything he could in Death Mountain. Then he got everything he could in the maze. Now he's fully clearing out everything he can get in the east before making that trip back west.
Absolutely.
And Vexed is going back to the east. I think Vexed has decided he wants that fairy spell before he clears out the palaces in the west. I don't blame him. So he's going to go on a Rebo hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be a good place to find. It could be on the Valley of Death. I'm assuming
likely at this point.
Yeah, it was close to the start. That's what I was thinking because we saw that lava.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen. Have we not seen the other palace in the east? So that three-eyed rock.
I don't think we have.
Yeah, that three-eyed rock could be a palace after all. Then.
Yeah, Vix has been sort of digging around trying to find it, but yeah, if that three-eyed palace is... Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine the flute being in the west?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I love this scene more and more.
Yeah.
Put the flute in P5, so you have to get the flute to go find P3 in order to get the... medicine that you need to get the fairy spell that you need to beat P1.
So I'm thinking fire might have been reflect. I couldn't tell what it. No, it's life. So fire's life.
Okay, fire life is a nice thing to have. It's not going to let you bypass logic, but it's likely to be cheaper than life for most of the seed.
Ooh, our trucker homewrecker with a point. P3 is in the rock. This is truly awful.
Yeah, if P3 is in the rock.
Oh, God.
Then we're gonna have to find the flute, and again, the flute could be in P5. If the flute is in P5, you are required to go to the east to get the boots to go do P5. so that you could get the flute, so that you could go back to the east, go into P3 to get the medicine, so you could go back to the west to get the fairy spell, so you could finally clear P1. This might be the most convoluted logic I've seen in a scene in a long time. And I love it. I love it so much.
I have no words right now. This is just incredible. And oh my god, here's the other bad thing about if we need to go to the Valley of Death. Because we don't have fairy, we're really gonna have to do all these screens. I forgot the term.
Yeah, and Vexed has not gotten the cross that was in one of the P-bag caves here in the east, so he's not going to be able to see these Moas. And Vix, unfortunately, took a death and is going to go back to the west.
I don't think Vix had a down stab, right?
Yeah, and that definitely makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't look like he has down stab, so he is perfectly fine with this game over. It's like, screw it, I want down stab. I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah.
That's immediately where he's heading.
Yeah, I think doing what Vexed is doing here is the way to go. Just load up on every spell possible and upstab and downstab through this crap.
Yeah, but Vexed is having a problem with these encounter skips. I think he's trying to go quick, but I think what he needs to do is just take it slow, and I was gonna say just stab around, kill that Moa before you move onward, because the second you take a jump, you know that Moa is gonna be right on top of you. It's how it works every time.
That is probably the child, if I were to guess, just because we know the child's on the west, but we haven't seen which cave that would be, so...
Yeah, I know Vix got the cross from one of the P-bag caves. Okay, yeah, and Vix is here in this magic container cave. I think Vexed found this earlier and just walked out. Maybe he thought that he had already gotten the item from it, and it's the child, so...
Was that boots locked? Or
yeah, this is over on the boots locked segment of the West. I don't know. Maybe Vexed already had gotten the child and we just forgot about it. Or maybe Vexed didn't realize that he hadn't done that cave. I don't know. I don't know whether Vexed actually has the child or not at this point. But Vix definitely has the child. And he's checking P-bag cave, which was this other boots block cave, and it's the flute. So yeah, I mean, Vexed was right over there. He just didn't check at least one of these caves, and they're two absolutely critical items for this scene.
Yeah.
And all of our insane logic about the flute being in P5 is gone now. Vix is about to do this P5. Okay, there's the second palace and the water tile. They were hiding all the way on the western edge.
And this freaking lava encounter here. Right,
yeah, and this is what I was saying about, like, start by checking all of the edges just to, avoid situations where you're gonna miss something like this. But we are gonna see this water tile. We're gonna see this last palace. So that means that, despite the fact that Vix just got that flute, Vexed finding this second palace on the east means that the flute is in fact not required.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all the convoluted logic we thought was coming is actually nothing. Just like in DM, right? The solution was actually really easy, and none of us found it.
It was all about the experience. It was all about the fun, coming up with these scenarios, and then just falling a little bit short each time. But it was fun along the way.
I totally didn't know there was a P-bag for VixRyder on the left side there.
Yeah, I believe that can be a jar too, if I'm not mistaken. At least I feel like I've picked up a jar there before, but I could be crazy. And so, Looks like Vexed is going to go back to the Valley of Death again. This does open up a question, though, as far as where the glove is. I think at this point it does need to be in a palace, if I were to guess, with what we've seen.
Yeah, at this point, I think we've seen all of the items on the east, all of the items on the west, so... Yeah, it's definitely going to be glove in a palace, and there's not too many places it could be. 2, 4, and 5, I think, are our only remaining palaces we didn't see the item in.
Everyone loves the glove in Palace 5, right?
I mean, I do.
It is a classic, that's for sure. It's
Well,
the one dungeon you want to avoid just because you don't want to have to go back in there long corridor and then realize it's glove blocked, but then the glove's just there.
Yep. Unfortunately, Vic's not realizing this is a dead end, so he's gonna take some hits before getting to the end of it. Admit just all large enemies.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think, when it comes with a lot of these rooms, is that a lot of these rooms look so similar, and there's just very minor differences that you can study up on to really see what's a dead end and not.
Yeah, the best way to tell that, I think there's a couple of that room, but if you could see 2 stacked blocks just from where you start, all of those are dead ends.
Right. Now, depending on the situation, though, and this is sort of something I've thought of, and I think some runners have thought of too. Even if you know it's a dead end, the fact that you might, be able to get like a small item there, such as a key there, could potentially be helpful depending on your situation. Now, obviously, in this situation, that wouldn't be helpful, but just in general, I've always thought or considered that as well.
Alright, so Vexed made it through the Valley of Death the second time. He's going to get his P3 here, which is good because he's going to be able to pick up his medicine. And I do, as annoying as this was, I do like this process for Vexed because he's going to get his medicine.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so this is P3 on the Valley of Death, huh? So
yeah.
You have to do this to get the fairy. Oh.
Yep. And so he's gonna get his fairy, and then he'll be able to full clear out the west and just be done with it. Of hopefully picking up his child along the way.
Yeah, as behind as Vex might seem like he is, I think this fairy is actually going to save him a lot of time in a lot of these dungeons, actually.
Yeah, and again, the big question is, where's the glove? Vix found the boss here in P5, and he's still like, nope, I want that glove.
Yeah, I can't blame him because.
Meanwhile, P3 already over.
Yeah, that's the thing about P3. And it can just be shorter than P1.
Yeah, on average, P3 is 1 room longer than P1. It is quite a short palace.
Yep. Yeah, this is a really tough situation to be in. A really tough decision, I think, for Vix as well. It is like, do you dig the rest of P5 now?
I think you have to. Like, it sucks. It sucks a lot. I mean, have what's the other palace that's on the west? It's P4. The alternative is P4. Like he could go to P4. I mean, he's got Reflect Spell if he really doesn't want to do P5. You go to P4, but P4 is, I mean, it's for sure shorter than P5, but it's still not short.
I don't know. I think I'd consider doing P4. It's just it's so tough. It's just so tough with such an early Duma here.
Yeah, but like, especially on Vix's end, right? Like he's got, so he hasn't seen the water tile yet, so to him that could still be in logic. He is going to turn around though and check more stuff at P5, and I think that's worth doing.
Have we seen both sides of the fairy block in P5? I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think we have. It's entirely possible that you could need the fairy to get the item out of P5 that could be the glove. If that's the case, Vex's routing is going to give him a huge advantage here.
That's almost another reason for me to just leave, actually, at this point.
Yeah. It's rough because I mean, from his perspective, there's only 4 locations left, right? He hasn't seen the water tile, and then he's got his 3 remaining palaces. And not seeing that water tile is a little concerning because it was actually so easy to get on the east, but neither runners found it for quite a while because it was hiding on an edge.
And we do want to welcome in Zelda Speedruns 2 with a rate of 27. Welcome to our Zelda 2 Upstarts tournament. We are in the bracket stage, and this is a tournament that is designed for primarily new runners of the game that are looking to get into the Zelda 2 Randomizer. So we hope you all enjoy your experience here.
Yeah, Vexed picked up his medicine, but good news for Vix, bad news for theoretical Animus running this race. The glove was in fact in 5.
Yeah. Wow, that is.
I mean, it's big.
That is big.
And Vexed could have, he sort of scoffed at P5, and I understood. You don't want to go to P5 at 3-4-4 or whatever he was at, but he could have had that glove. Can you imagine going into P3 to get that medicine and finding that the item is glove blocked?
Oof, yeah, that would have been rough. Yeah, again, it's these little decisions, right? Sometimes there's just not a right or wrong answer, right? And hey, you go into P5, that's the right answer. So.
Well, and this fairy spell for Bex could still save him much time in P5. We don't know where the other end of that fairy block room led, so he could save some time in P5 just via advantageous routing. But Vix working on the full reverse boss order is now gonna take on P4.
I think that was our goal, honestly. It's to do this, then do P3, P2, P1. Yeah, that's the way we got to do it.
Yeah, well, he's gonna have to do P1 last because he's gotta go back east to get that medicine for fairy spell to do P1. So
that's right.
This is a pretty solid chance he ends up because we know
P3's on Valley of Death.
He'll probably do P2 before P3.
Yeah.
Because P2 is just sitting on the coast and P3 is in Valley of Death. But other than that, it's going to be the full... Okay, good. Vex did go back to this cave, realize, wait a second, I didn't get the item there, and now has picked up his kid. So he's going to be a glove away from go mode. Hopefully he finds that in P5 in just a second.
Yeah, that could screw Vexed Object up a little bit, and I wouldn't blame them one bit just because... It's tough when you see Guma that quickly, and it would be so easy to exit out of there. So I think it's going to be tough for sure to see what they're going to do. Yeah, but they might have that fairy spell in there too, so that might help justify them continuing in there as well.
Yep, and Vex picking up the flute. He knows it's not useful, but whatever.
Yeah, it's something that you just kind of think about picking up just because you see the blue when you're on the glove hunt. So
Yeah, and for 3-eyed rock could be a P bag or an extra life or something like that. Just could be pick up on the way. But all right, so Vexed, that's North Palace. I think he's looking for his way back to P1. I don't think he saw what the item was in P1 when he was here initially, so this makes sense for him to do as far as a first palace. You've got to do it anyway, and you'd definitely rather search this place for the glove than P5.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, we saw Vix early on was able to get the item out of P1, but the Vexed Object was... I think it was key locked and fairy locked as well, so just wasn't able to get the item. But the boss was fairy locked anyway, so you're gonna have to come back here anyway. Yeah, the seed has been a little bit of a mess star. You've had to go from the west through DM to get to the east to pick up your boots, to get to the segmented portion of the west. you need to go through the Valley of Death to get the fairy spell, basically, because medicine, you need to pick up the P3 to go back to the west to pick up the fairy spell. And then your glove is in our favorite dungeon, P5. So, yeah, it's been a fun scene for sure.
Basically, every fetch quest is in play, and they all required you to go back and forth between the west and the east.
Oh, and we didn't even mention the child was boots locked, and then you need to go back to the east to pick up Thunder. So yeah, that's fun too. Incredible.
Thankfully, both our runners have sort of untangled that whole mess, and we are now firmly into let's beat some palaces mode.
Yeah.
As Vix places his third gem, we're going to see Vex presumably kill a horse pretty soon. Then that can't be that many rows left.
No. P1's going to be really short, so... Oh, there's the hammer, so... From the other end, because we saw VixRyder come in from the other side, so...
That unfortunately means that probably the boss is not going to be this way. It's probably left from here.
That's interesting. I don't think I think it was randomized whether or not it spawned or not at all, but I don't think we saw the Nikasudo forest tile at all anyway, so...
Yeah. Yeah, P1 may actually just have not been fairy blocked.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. It might not have been fairy locked, actually.
Which, I mean, I theoretically could have saved a trip back and forth, but I don't know what the fewest number of trips back and forth between the west and the east you could have taken was. I don't know if that information reduces that number by 1.
This is the seed for the routing royale or whatever. This would be the seed for that, to figure that out.
Yeah, and Vexed confirming that Palace was just not fairy block, just needed more keys than either of our runners had.
This is interesting. Again, fairy is a spell that you feel like you might need for GP in general, but it is interesting that this could have easily have just potentially been a fairyless seed.
Interesting decision here from Vix. VixRyder still has not found where that P2 is all the way on the western edge of the map across the water. Decided to go into Valley of Death, so he is going to be on reverse boss order.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But he's having a lot of the problems Vex did.
And again, which I guess it's not too bad with boots now, but you're either committing to walking out of the Valley of Death fairyless or just up-Aing. Since this is P3, I'm assuming you just up-A just because you want to pick up fairy anyway. But yeah, that's just going to be another trip to the east for sure.
Well, he could just do P1 and then make his final trip out to the east to do P2, pick up Thunder, and then do GP.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that, again, would disrupt our reverse boss order shenanigans, but...
I definitely think that's the toughest part right now, at least for my brain to wrap around. Just, thinking of what our runners are thinking from two different scenarios at the same time. This multitasking is very difficult to pick up for me.
Yeah, I'm sure that both our runners are thinking a lot of things, but chief among them is, I've definitely lost this race. How on earth do I only have this few gems placed at, over 70 minutes into the seed?
I think you're always feeling that in this game.
Yeah.
I think that's just the constant war battle when you're fine in this game. I've already lost.
You look over and Trails has already finished the race, and it's like...
Yep, 50 minutes. Oh, dang. Yeah, so Vix is, I believe he's made it past and is in P3 now, so that's going to be very good, and going to be able to pick up the fairy after this to speed things up as well. So
yeah, Vex checked Three-Eyed Rock. I'm not sure what he was looking for there. He already has all of the... I guess I don't know if he's found all the P-Bag caves on the east. He may have missed one of the P-Bag caves.
Yeah, they not.
Oh yeah, he's missing the one that contains the cross, because he hasn't found the cross yet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's probably going to make it even more difficult to,
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to do it. He just doesn't want to do it, but I understand, but he's gotta.
Yeah.
Vix missing the setup for the corner cheese is gonna have to fight Rebo a little bit more fairly. But with shield and life and 5/5/6 should be no issue.
Yeah, the leveling after Vix picked up that attack 5 feels like probably like 40 minutes ago. Has just been a little rough to be able to get like an additional attack level. Now, vanilla attack 5's okay, I guess. So I guess you're not really that concerned about getting like attack 6 or something like that. But that is something you would certainly do for sure.
VixRyder is deciding to roll it over. He thinks he can get 400 more experience to get this attack level, and I don't approve.
This is something, especially when you're starting out with, it's just something that I think is a hard habit to break, which is just you really want that extra level, that extra experience, I get it on one hand because, like, you feel like you're probably right to an extent that you'll just perform a little bit better by getting this extra XP. The problem comes, which is why you don't approve of it, which I totally understand, and why I wouldn't do this now either. It's just the time that it would take to get this extra experience is such a big time loss, if you will, that it's just something that you kind of just want to kind of roll out with it and just take whatever level you get and not worry about like attack 6 or something like that.
Yeah, well, I guess one thing that does make it a little bit more reasonable is that he still hasn't found his medicine.
That is true, yeah.
Vexed object found the medicine before the boss, but here Vix still hasn't found his medicine, and he knows that he needs it, so... You know that you're going to have to clear some more enemies anyway.
Yeah, and in that scenario, I do agree with this.
Yeah. Thankfully, not going to need the extra 200 to the next level, though. Gets cleared out quick, and just in time, here's the medicine in this precariously bugged item room.
Our favorite.
Dude, oh, don't risk it. Okay, he does pick up the medicine. For anyone still in this tournament, if you're in that item room and you open the door and die before you pick up the item, you soft lock. The item is gone forever. Don't do that. It's fixed for 4.2, but still a live bug in this version.
Yeah, it's always a scary room to be in. I haven't seen too many items that are like hard required. We still don't know if fairy's hard required or not, but you definitely don't want to spawn fairy either, even if it's not hard required.
Yeah. That there's a few rooms that are bugged like that, but that one is the one most likely to cause it because there's actually enemies right next to the door. Shoutouts to Mirai actually did the room redesign for that room to fix that one.
Yes, absolutely.
The root cause is related to how close that key door is too close to the item. They're on the same page, and so we had to move the key door over a couple, which meant moving the rest of the room over and changing the sizes of some things, and that room took a little bit of redesigning. I think there's 3 other rooms that have that problem, but in all of those we just moved the door or the item over like a tile. No one really noticed. The other one that's most notable is the segmented item room, where you can see it from the top, but you have to come up an elevator to it. Yeah, and as we expected, reverse boss order has been ruined, and this makes sense. Come back in here, do this P1 that he thinks is fairy blocked, and then come back to the east and grab Thunder, do P2, and do GP. Meanwhile, Vexed having a time of this P5.
Yeah, and it's almost like the second part of the game too. That's the thing. We've had all of these shenanigans up to this point, and GP could still just be absolutely awful too.
Yeah, it's gonna help that all of this work has left both our runners in a position where they're at 7 or 8 magic and life containers, pretty decent levels. Especially Vix at 656 already. He's gonna have 2 more palaces, so that'll help GP. But
yeah, we got the shield life, fire life, if you will, reflect too. So all of those spells make a really nice difference. And like you said, with the amount of magic we have to cast all that, that's gonna make things a lot more friendlier for a GP, even if it is super rough.
Vexed has found his way to Guma, but very low on resources. Hopefully he's got another life he can come in fresh at. He's got 2 more lives. That life, he had no magic, very little life. This time, shield spell, 2 or 3 casts of life. Going to be quite a bit easier.
Yeah.
While high horse head, by horse head.
Horsehead was doing his best too.
Yeah, he's just not really equipped to deal with attack 6.
It does, and I guess Guma did roll down a little bit as far as health goes too, but attack 4 is not as bad on Guma as I was expecting. But that's from someone who isn't quite familiar with vanilla levels as opposed to random levels. I haven't really studied vanilla levels that well.
Yeah, the only thing that's left for Vix now is that Vix still hasn't found P2. He knows it's on the east somewhere, but he still has not found it, and he's hopefully not going to spend too much time digging for it once he gets there.
Well, the good news is, at this point that everything you're looking for is on the east, so you don't need to go back to the west or Maze Island.
Yeah, and he knows for sure it's in the clear too, because he's already found all the different blocking tiles.
Yeah, and you don't have to go through the Valley of Death either, so that's going to be helpful. So,
but still, the question is where, and he is not going in the right direction, unfortunately.
Yeah, he might be trying to pick up Thunder first, if I were to guess.
Oh, that's fair. If you got to do it anyway, might as well take a stop. I do not remember where.
I think it was more north
really
up
is.
here. Yeah, I think it was more north up here, right to the left here, I think. So, at least I thought that was Duranium, maybe not.
We'll assume VixRyder knows where he's going.
Yeah, I'm sure. Our runners have been paying a little bit better attention to the sea than I have, I'm sure.
1,000 points for VixRyder. Going to get Magic 6. He passed up Life 7 in order to get Magic 6. Maybe he's concerned about Thunder? Oh no. Yeah, good catch from Homewrecker. Vex did leave P6.
P5. Yeah.
Or P5 rather. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. You don't want to dig P5 for the item.
I mean, we discussed it. I mean, I would have strongly considered it. In fact,
yeah. And especially because Vexed didn't see the item in P6, right? He still has P2 and P4 outstanding.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But unfortunately, this is going to be probably a death blow for Vexed Object.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is unfortunate that way, just because it's tough. I don't blame the decision at all. It's just it can be cruel sometimes.
Yeah, glove in P5 is just not a thing anyone wants to see.
It's like when you're going early on, you have a long P4, and you just skip the item there and let's locate that. Well, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, Thunderspell pickup for VixRyder. Just need a couple more bosses. We'll have gotten tracker percent. But also, VixRyder again. Okay, I was going to say, still hasn't found P2, but very, very surely receives the commentator's blessing and finds it. A little bit surprised we didn't see a water tile check from him. He still has a life and magic container outstanding, and it's a fairly quick check, but I also understand. It's like, I just want to go.
Yeah, and also at this point, I mean, you got 7 hard containers and 7 magic containers. I mean, at this point, like you were saying, the runners probably feel behind as is anyway, so you're probably just kind of in the mood of just going at this point.
Good news, this means we are going to get to see what the item in P4 is. I'm gonna guess heart container.
I mean, I think that's all we really have left. Well, I guess
Could be a minor item.
Yeah, because it could be in P2. Yeah, so it's either that or P2. That's right. And that's the thing about P2 too. This could potentially be one of the longer dungeons as well. So it's gonna be a little bit of a decision time. P2 is a little deceiving. You think it's an earlier dungeon, it's going to be long, but actually, in the vanilla games, actually a little bit of a longer dungeon as far as rooms go. P1, P3 have much less rooms than P2, so in the randomizer, plus minus, I believe it's 20% of rooms.
P4 and P2 have exactly the same number of rooms in the random, the same min and the same max in their range.
Okay. So, yeah.
And P1 and 3 obviously significantly shorter. And then 5 and 6 are a mess.
Yep. Oh, Vix did find it. So that could have, with all the different directions in that P2, that could have been a little bit more brutal. So
yeah, he found that giant elevator maze right at the beginning and just went all the way down and held right, and that was good enough.
Yep. That's sometimes holding right's the way to go. Oh, gonna burn that gem. So Vix is really putting the pressure on. He's ready to go.
Really shortly.
Yep, just right over here.
So despite all the shenanigans, still into GP, 124.55.
Yeah, that play to get the glove was just, absolutely a great deal breaker by Vix to just stick with it.
Nice soothing blue color here for GP, I like it. Oh no.
Immediate Thunderbird, so...
Immediate Thunderbird, basically the biggest troll you could possibly have.
Well, it also could set up for a potentially Jet GP as well. That's the thing about this early D-Bird. It's either the best thing or the worst thing you see.
Vexed shows that I have won the 50-50. It is a hard container. So that puts P2. Is our last item going to be just a minor item?
Yep.
I like Vix just taking it easy, 2 hits per cycle, play it safe.
You know, it will be interesting to see. I'm not sure the glove was required in any dungeon up to this point.
I don't think it was.
No, obviously in GP you would consider it being required, but up to this point it has not been required in GP. It is now required.
It is now required. I was gonna say, I've not run the stats on this version, but I have to imagine glove is in this flag set especially probably required at least 98, if not 99% of the time.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like even ignoring how many glove blocks could appear in regular palaces, GP just like a quarter of the item pool is glove block rooms.
Oh yeah.
Or the room pool rather.
Yeah, there are actually a lot of seeds where you won't see glove blocks in palaces 1 through 6, but GP, yeah, you're probably just gonna need the glove.
Yeah, and especially in like Max Rando or some of these other flag sets that we run, glove being required is a lot less likely, but
it's still pretty high, I would say, though. Just
yeah.
There are GP, you're right, it is less likely that glove is required for sure, but it's still pretty up there, I would say.
Yeah, these 8 bars of life 6 are taking Vexed object a real long time to die at. Oh!
I love the King Bot.
King Bot is both the best and worst enemy in GP.
Well, that's also a cheap heal homewrecker. Is just take a little lava bath. That also puts a good little heal. Oh, there's a nice one up. Definitely gonna take that.
Get a refund on your death.
The Kingbot was nice. Gave him a little extra life there.
I love this. Mick sees a bit, and he's like, or a bot rather, and he's like, "Nope, I absolutely do not want to have anything to do with that." I'm casting Fairy.
Yeah, those bots are absolutely troll.
Very reasonable. No one ever died by casting Fairy and flying over a pit.
I don't think we've really seen a deviation up to this point, have we?
No, this has been all straight, which means, ooh, it's I don't think there was a fork at the start either. So that means
no, there wasn't.
Until we see a fork, we will not see a Dark Link.
Well, this is always fun when we see such a linear GP like this. Oof.
Yeah, enemy set hasn't been too bad in here, but the more linear it is, the more painful it can be.
Finally a fork.
Alright, fork is definitely what we're looking for, so now Dark Link is in logic one of these directions. That's a left.
Vix saying no, can't blame that.
Yep. And he's
Fairy
a fairy
block.
block.
So Fairy might actually be hard required after all.
That would be cruel if you found the way through P1 without Fairy spell, only to get into GP and need Fairy. Because if you didn't get Fairy, that could have saved a lot of time with the backtracking that was required in order to get it.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. Alright, we got a lot of directions now. This is a fun GP.
We got two left outstanding. And then this right that VixRyder's on.
This is going to be another elevator too, so...
Oh, it doesn't catch the Bird Knight's feet on the way down, but does get the stab. Oops, all elevators.
Oh,
And
another
another
direction.
left.
Yeah.
Okay. Our speculation about linear GP is out the window.
No, but it is a very deep GP, that's for sure. With our directions.
Beck's going for round 2 against Barba here. Having gone back into P6. Thankfully, knew the way right to Barba, and it's going to be a lot easier on 5.56 with 8 bars.
Yeah, attack 5 is going to be, this is what Vix had as well as far as attack 5 goes, so that's going to be a lot better than attack 3. I think this was, it looks like this was a loop. Yeah, so...
So that cuts our left, so there's the left all the way at the bottom of this path, but if Vix just goes like left 3 rims from here, it'll put him on a new path, and then there's that up left right at the start of the fork that Vix didn't want to do.
Right. Yeah, looks like one of those classic, looks like I'm gonna full clear GP sort of seeds, doesn't it?
It's definitely approaching that.
I will say, I don't think the enemy set is really that kind here, but I don't think we're noticing it that much just because we're leveling up so good. Oh, dead end.
Here's dead end. Okay, here's reverse L7 room, so...
Yeah, it is that first left. Oops, all directions.
Left.
All directions.
Yep. Yeah, accidental 100% here at this GP.
I don't know about accidental. I think that's just how we always do GP. We just full clear it all.
There's a lot of runners who have started gambling on lefts pretty aggressively. Oh, and he's gonna get stuck in this fairy block room. He's gonna try and get the jar.
That's very good.
He's not going to try to get the jar. He's just gonna take the death.
He may not know about the jar. I'm not sure.
It's a 50-50 jar versus Bird Knight in that block in the top.
Yeah, and you actually can't use upstab on that block either. You gotta hit it from the side. So that's also something that can confuse people. That confused me the first time I tried it. And that's kind of weird too, that upstab doesn't work on that, but it's just hitting the block on the side. But yeah, that's what you gotta do for that plot.
So we're back on. This is the only path. Vix wisely casting Fairy, doesn't want to get lavaed.
Yeah,
Another
that's
potentially scary room, and another Fairy cast. That's going to be his last one.
I think he's on his last life too, actually.
Yeah, he is. He could try and spawn a jar in that room as well. But he's going to keep going. I don't blame him. There's... Oh, never mind.
There's a red jar.
All right. Just going to get a jar for free.
And this might be it right here, too.
I think it's likely. Yep. And that's a full clear. So tracker percent, full clear. The only thing he didn't find the item in 2, which we know is a minor item, and he didn't find... I guess he didn't find water tile. He didn't get the item in 4 as well, which is that last heart container.
Yeah, so the magic container from water tile and P4 heart, yeah.
And a few more stabs. All right, VixRyder is your winner. Official race time of 1:34.34.
Yeah, get your GGs out for VixRyder. Absolutely well run, well deserved. Especially with the rough start that everyone had to deal with. And
well endured.
P5 play was spectacular.
Yeah, and it really has been what made a lot of the difference here.
Oh, certainly. It does look like actually Vex just saw a glove block, so the item in P2 might actually be glove blocked.
Ooh, that's unfortunate for him. Well, unfortunate. Fortunate in that it's going to hopefully funnel him into that P5.
Yeah, we will see if VixRyder wants to join us for an interview.
He'll begin in just a bit. He's, recovering from this monstrosity.
Yeah, I would need a few minutes as well, so...
And we've got VixRyder in here. GG.
Yo, thank you, GG's.
This was a seed.
Oh yeah, this was something special.
Early on, both of you sort of, did similar things, looked at similar places. Both ended up in Death Mountain simultaneously, and despite the fact that there were 2 connectors to Maze Island, you both sort of struggled to find them, and were into Maze Island about 15 seconds apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost the one connector that I had for it, and this the second time around, and so it just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah, the whole seed, having to go through that whole trek to get from west to east, and then finding multiple fetch quests requiring you to go back and forth was just, it was mean. We were trying to devise even crueler things. We were hoping for flute in P5 because neither of you found that second palace for quite a while on the east, and so we thought it could have been at a 3-eyed rock, and we're like, Fluten P5 to get back to Three-Eyed Rock, to get Palace 3, to get Medicine, to get Fairy.
You know what? I would have taken that over what the actual Palace 3 was. Trying to get through Death Valley without Fairy.
Yeah, it was rough. You at least had the crossed. Vexed Object had to do it without the crossed and had a similarly difficult time.
Yeah, and I kind of gambled because I knew I knew 2 and 3 were on the east. I didn't know where and one was in Valley of Death, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna rush this and pray that it's Palace 3. And if it's not Palace 3, then I really hope there's not a fairy block in this palace.
We were hoping for reverse boss order. You were so close, and I think you reasonably wanted to just off A out of Valley of Death, but
oh yeah, I wasn't going back through. Thank God for encounter skips.
Yep, and we're also joined by Vexed Object, GG.
Yeah, GG, I guess.
GG's.
Yeah, we certainly so. We felt for both of you. You know, like Eleanor was saying at the beginning, just having to go through that Death Mountain to find the connector was pretty rough. Both of you found it within 15 seconds, that connector. Actually, so it was actually kind of like simultaneously there. We were both saying, we were just like, you know, probably both of our runners feel like they're just like super behind right now, and it's you know, kind of ironic that, you know, they're right next to each other at this moment. Like we were just discussing, the Valley of Death dive to get the medicine to get Fairy was absolutely brutal. And to me personally, you know, VixRyder, you did a great job as well. So. To me personally, the fact that to do that dive to get the glove from P5 was obviously the play. That was probably something I would have done. So
in my mind, it was like, I really hope it's here because I have no idea where that water tile is on the east.
Right. No, that was a good play there. So it's tough decision, man. So good job.
Yeah.
I wanted to complete P5, but I didn't want to like dig it, so I just like up and left. I didn't know that's where it was, but you know, I was kind of betting on no glove, and it almost worked because I completed like all the new palaces without the glove. So I'm assuming GP was glove block.
I think there was only one glove block, one actual glove block in GT.
That, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were saying on commentary, you had gotten all the way into GP, and we still hadn't seen a glove block. It's like this could be a not glove required seed. At approximately 10 seconds later, you found the one and only glove block.
And then there were 4 of them in like that one loop that I found too.
Yeah, but that loop just wasting your time, getting you the full clear of GP.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I will say that I dove into P1 early just hoping to find something because I knew the magic key had to be out there, and I had 2 keys, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to dive here, and maybe I'll get something good that'll help me traverse the world easier. And it would have if I would have had jump.
Yeah, lack of access to downstab was hurting both of you early because jump and fairy just not pleasantly positioned.
Well, and it's not just that hammer...
Valley is horrible.
That hammer led to the other end of Jump Cave, which was a shortcut to get back to Death Mountain.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't check Jump Cave.
Well, we are going to have to wrap up this interview. It looks like a little shortly, just because it looks like there's another broadcast coming up after this. But do you two have any final thoughts about this stream?
Thank you guys for getting the stream set up and for coming and tracking. Really appreciate it.
Pretty much. Thanks for giving me the chance at least. GG.
Yeah, GG's.
GG's. I do want to compliment both of you. I think you both did an excellent job. I know this was a very rough seed, and I made the comment on stream. I was just like, hey, you know, both of you decide to do standard, they're going to be like, oh, this seed is nothing compared to what I saw in Upstarts.
You're right. Yeah. Thanks.
I know the feeling. Like, don't sweat. Like, I think
I
you
know
did great.
that was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad seed.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I'm telling you, it is. that was rough.
Yeah, that seed
you're
was
saying that's
something else.
Of course, right? Like my first bracket seed, and I get that.
Hey, Brando gonna rando, and anything can happen, and it usually does. It is what it is.
It had to be me, I guess. That's
I mean, not all joking aside, though. I echo what the lads said. GG's to both of you. That was a very valiant effort played by both of you. Chat, if you're not following these runners already, be sure to give them a follow. All the information is in the chat there. Anyone got any final comments to make before we get out of here?
I think I'll be fine.
Well, like I said, just thank you guys again for everything you guys did.
Of course, and thank you both for agreeing to this race. Thank you also to Animus and to Elendar for the excellent commentary, and to Homewrecker for the tracking. Be sure to give all of them a follow as well. Next matchup on the Z2R Upstarts tournament, I had it here a second ago. Oh, there it is. Coming up tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, is the last quarterfinal matchup between Zen Arcane and Valence. We're still working out a channel for that, so stay tuned for more information for that. And we have got a lot of information, a lot of races happening tomorrow as well across various different Zelda runs, so all the information is on the schedule. Be sure to go and check that out. That being said, though, coming up in about 10-15 minutes here on ZSR, we have got some Link to the Past NMG League action between Flip Hill and Spleeby. So we're just going to go ahead and sign off and get everything set up for that. So feel free to hang around if you're interested in that. Might be something up your alley. For now, though, my name is Psychonaut. Thank you so much for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your time. So bye bye now.